Well, Tiff, how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining.
Lovely to be with you.
Great opportunity during ISO, well, even though we're coming on a little bit now, but it's a great opportunity, I thought, to get to know the winemakers a little bit. So I've got 10 questions to ask you.
Off you go.
So what is your earliest wine memory?
We were a family. We was dad and mum was second. We were third. So I had two older brothers, and when we were children, we used to rampage through the winery. It was our place where mum and dad were. It was a small business, so mum and dad basically ran it, and with very little help. So we spent most of our time with them, of course. And so wherever they were, we were. So we used to feed the horses with pears from the pear tree in summer. We used to scamper across the old presses and things during winter time. It was just it was our playground. It was where we were. But so the early experiences, I suppose, were being in the old winery, the cellar hands generally doing the work, being dropped off by mum and dad being told to look after us. Of course, he ignored us and we just got up to all sorts of mischief. But a very normal, natural, early experience, I suppose.
It sounds pretty special to me.
I suppose it'd be the same as if you were on a farm, you'd be chasing sheep. It was just the industry we happened to be in, and we didn't know any better.
What would you say is your winemaking style?
It's a family business. So Dad used to make big, full flavoured wines, which his father used to make. They used to be an industry standard for Rutherglen, and we just duplicated those. Some years are really good and make wonderful, full flavoured wines, and dry years or wet years, they're slightly different. But you were trying to make that style of wine that had generosity in the middle palate, fruit and flavour, freshness. And of course, basically, Rutherglen was all about its red, so Shiraz used to lead, and now we've got Girif, obviously. When Rutherglen was first planted, we had a lot of early Rhone varieties, and they're still prominent in the Rutherglen region. And you see them coming out, and they're very, very suited to warm regions, so eminently suited to what we're doing. Earlier on, we used to do sherries, muscats, ports, tokais. They're still in existence. They're fabulous wines.
Who inspires you in the world of wine?
Well, we were very lucky as the young ones growing up. We had Mick Morris, Bill Chambers, George Smith, to name a few. We were very lucky with Seppels and Lindy's, and there were some marvellous people and personalities in both of those institutions. If you looked a bit further afield, Australia was lucky to have the likes of Len Evans and Murray Tyrrells and James Hallidays, and in the Barossa you had Wolfie Blass and a lot of other iconic individuals. If you went overseas, the one I loved was Robert Parker. He was an American, and he was very much in favour of big, full-flavoured wines. And Robert Parker was very much a friend for Rutherglen and for the Barossa. Obviously, he was in love with Shiraz and introduced our styles to the world.
Sounds like a lot of inspiration there.
Our industry is just full of people that are full of enthusiasm, and it just comes forth, and it's really nice. There's a groundswell when things go well and people get behind them. It works wonderfully well. It's very positive.
So another question for you here. What is the most rewarding part of your job, would you say?
Smiles on people's faces. Sometimes, like a year will come along and you'll just have an absolute ripper season where the fruit just comes in and it's just perfect. As a winemaker, you're really not, pushed too hard. The wine makes themselves, and you have exactly what you want in the bottle. And then people come along and smile sweet and say, "Wow, isn't that wonderful?" And that just it's a pure pleasure. A winemaker really has to earn his stripes in bad seasons when he has to really work hard to make a sort of purse out of a pig's ear. But when you just do the things that are normally expected of you, it all falls into place, and you get the reward at the end of it. And look, your children tell you, "Oh, geez, Dad, that's rubbish," and then every now and again they smile sweetly and say, "Well, we'll have to give it to you. That's not bad." And that's a day to remember.
Ooh, what is your all-time favourite food and wine pairing?
Uh, I don't have a favourite, but I have lots. A couple of years ago, James Halliday had Pinot Noir and Kangaroo because it was supposed to be very lean, and we tried that, and it was absolutely quite a nice blend. Sydney International Wine Competition used to put wine and food, and it used to be a part of the judging process, not only to see it as a single wine against other wines, but to see it with food in its natural thing. And I think, well, my favourite wine style is probably Shiraz, and I love it with full of flavoured foods, steaks an obvious one, but lamb shanks, anything in the middle of winter when it's really cold, a big hearty wine in a warm surrounding with lovely food and friends is just wonderful. But I can say I've had many a lamb roast with a lovely Cabernet, and it works equally as well.
Well, you just blew out the window the myth of drinking whites with red meats.
Oh, hey, I think everybody's an individual. You drink what makes you happy, and don't let anybody else tell you otherwise.
What do you most love about the Rutherglen region?
Camaraderie. Family's been here for a long time. Some of the older families have gone and new families have come in. But when we went through the state school system, when I was at school, I had two older brothers, obviously, at state school at the same time. But David Morris was a year below, and Andrew Smith, Stephen Chambers. We all grew up together as individuals in our homes, and we used to catch up with each other through the socialising of our parents, either through work or after hours. But then we went through school, we went through high school together, we played in football teams, and then we came back to the same industry. So there's a friendship that goes well beyond just normal work relations. If you need a hand, there's always somebody there. If something's not quite going right your way or something, there's always somebody that will pop up and give you a hand, or if your pump dies, somebody will lend you one. So it's a wonderful, generous group of people working together for a common thing. And we're in business and we're competing against each other, but it's not about winning. It's about, just pulling together to make things work, I think. And there's a really nice spirit, not only with the winemaking, but through the trade where we go out and promote the district. Everybody's got their best foot forward, and I think it's just wonderful.
It is wonderful, and I've been talking to a few winemakers and I've asked the same question as well, and it's a common response, that sense of community.
It goes further than that, because the Morrises married into the Chambers family, and there's been intermarriages here and there, and it's not just the closeness of the relationships. It's just that there's a genuine friendship there. It's not related on making dollars and cents, and it's not just for the boys. The girls are there as well. So I think it's really nice. It's a good solid grounding, and as you're growing up, the people in the industry want the young ones to do well, and they support them however they can. And so coming up through the field, the young ones feel supported and they feel comfortable, and I think that's great. I think it's a wonderful institution to be involved in.
Absolutely, it is. Yep. So, in your opinion, what's the most interesting thing happening in the world of wine at the moment?
My son just spent his vintage across in New Zealand just before the coronavirus came in, and he was excited to work for Michael Brakovich at Q New Wines. He's making Chardonnays, and just looking at the new age that the New Zealanders are doing with Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc and some of the other varieties that are coming from there. Previously, he'd been in Portugal working for tailors making port. So the world's their oyster. So it just depends what's exciting at the moment. But for me, I'm really not sure. I think the world's a little bit boring at the moment. There's a lot of things like the GFC came in and Corona, which is all totally negative. Prior to that, Robert Parker was promoting wine like never before. Jancis was behind it. We had some wonderful people pushing really hard. But just at the moment, I think the world is a little bit
mad.
Sorry, they're stuck in a rut. It's just that we've got the brakes put on us because there's so many things going on in the world. But old Europe used to be very much had a lot of red tape. It was told very much what it could and couldn't do. And now you're finding in the Rhine and in France and a lot of the appellations are changing to allow new styles of winemaking and technology in. And you're seeing some wonderful new styles just popping up. The traditional old varieties are still very much respected in the old houses and things. They're still making $1,000 a bottle, but you find there's a lot of young things, enthusiastic things, vibrant things coming through. And it's all about lifestyle and food choices and things. And a certain amount of it, again, is to do with the expense of it. People are making very fruity, friendly quaffing styles of wine that are reasonably inexpensive. And it's not so that you can go out and get smashed. It's so that you can enjoy them on a regular basis with food and lifestyle. And I think it's to be commended.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. There's a lot of new stuff coming out, and I'm totally enjoying experiencing it, I have to say.
But so you should. I mean, at the moment with the coronavirus, people are at home, and you don't like to think that people are slightly down in the dumps and so that they think they'll have a drink. That's not the point of it. It's all about having social activities going on and being with friends and enjoying the moment. In the old days, you'd have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or maybe a beer with the mates. And now the new age one is wine. And a lot of the young ladies are getting involved and then they're the new drinkers of today and they're just experiencing wine for the first time. So champagne, Pinot Grigio, Prosecco, hugely popular. Mm-hmm. And they're low alcohol, they're fruity, zesty, chilled wines that come out fresh and vibrant from a fridge, and they're exciting styles. It's good.
Yeah, I have to agree. And I have to say, happy Chardonnay. It's World Chardonnay Day today. Did you know?
It's Chardonnay Day?
World Chardonnay Day. So happy Chardonnay.
So,
appropriate.
I'll take your word for it. I should have known, but there you are.
What's the biggest wine drinking myth in your opinion?
People would say there's no such thing as a bad wine. Well, that is a myth. I'm sure it was a salesman that said it. I think the winemaker would smile sweetly and correct you.
What has been your biggest lesson so far in regards to daily life during the coronavirus?
I can't, it's a terrible thing to say, but we've rather enjoyed the freedom of it. Stuck at home with the wife and we're rather enjoying it. We haven't had the moment. We've been very busy. We've been very lucky in an industry that's very popular and very vibrant. We have children and they've just got to university stage. We haven't had really a moment to ourselves in a long time. And you really want the fact that people are banging on your door or they're asking questions because that's just the nature of what our business is. But for the first time, all of a sudden, there's silence and we're looking at each other and there's no desperation to get out of bed in the morning or do some of the things that are just normal. And for the first opportunity in our time in our life, we have the opportunity to take a moment and reflect on what's important and what's not. I think after the coronavirus, many people will be making different choices. It's like a sea change might be ushered in simply because people realize that they can do other things and work is not such a driving force, or a lot of the protocols or scheduling or whatever it is, which has been paramount in our lives, we figured out how to do them in a different way, and I think that might carry forth and might be a good thing. What we're doing today, we're talking over the phone.
I know.
Excellent.
I have to agree, though. I think that's, for me, that slowing down aspect of all of this has been fabulous. Like, I've been in Rutherglen for 4 years now, or nearly 4 years, and I've still got boxes I haven't unpacked. So,
we're a bit the same. We moved from town to out here 5 years ago, and if the boxes haven't been unpacked, just push them up, leave them on the curb. And if you haven't found a reason to open them, you never will.
Exactly. Yes, I have got a few boxes to go to the op shop. Actually, I think I've only got one more question here to ask you, and it was, what do you love about viticulture?
It's seasonal. If we're in good old Europe, winter would start with January. So the first 3 months it's like a clock. The first 3 months it's cold and things are asleep. So you dash out there and ravage the vines by pruning them. And then when they wake up and it's springtime, the shoots come out and burst its life to starting over. And then you have summer where the clusters come and the fruit presents itself on the vines. And then you fuss over the vines all the way until autumn. And then finally you see the fruits of your labour, that wonderful Brown Brothers slogan. And if you're lucky, you then get to bring it into the winery and process it into wine. And then having done all of those things and worn yourself out, you're back to winter. So again, you can make it like a daytime clock. You're in bed over winter time. You wake up in the morning, which is springtime. You have lunch in the middle of summer. You have afternoon smoko by autumn. And then by tea time, you're back and it's winter. So the cycle of life is what it is. And long before the world got fast with all the mobile phones and emails and everything else that drives you crazy, the human spirit was being driven by this natural clock, which was just the seasons. And you knew, you get out of bed, you know exactly what time of the year it is, you know exactly what's supposed to go on. It gave you a sense of where you should be and what should be happening. And people could get on with their lives.
Never a dull moment.
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
We're creatures. I mean, we need that.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to bring the little tipsy tour guests back. I'm very keen for that. I'm missing you.
Yeah.
I'm missing the dogs.
Hey, that is the one thing this coronavirus is. We're social beasts. We desperately need to see people and interact with people. This is, when you said before, what is one of the things you found? It's peaceful, but it's you really need that interaction here with your children, the family, the external things. I think seeing a customer come through the door with a smile on his face and questions galore, that's just wonderful.
Obviously, things don't stop, even during the coronavirus. So what's going on in the winery at the moment?
Pruning is just about to start. I've got my electric secateurs. I've sharpened them up. My wife's told me not to nip any fingers, and so we're spending a few hours each day just starting pruning. But we went out and picked some olives, big fat juicy olives, and they're bigger than before, and I'm not sure why. So we've got 3 or 4 buckets, and we're about to put them in the salt brine. So by Christmas time, you'll have one of these gobstoppers to try.
Can't wait. They're the best olives ever.
It's a bit of fun, but there you go. Other than that, it's pretty much business as usual. Winter's coming. Pruning is the name of the game, and just getting on with the normal processes.
Getting things done.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm actually chilling a Chardonnay at the moment. I've got a lovely piece of salmon out to have.
Right.
With some delicious vegetables from my garden and my dad's garden, and have it with that Chardonnay. It should be great.
So is that an invitation?
No.
Hey, good luck with whatever you're doing. It's great that you're still full of energy and vibrance. I hope everything goes well with what you're doing and how you're encouraging tourism back on its feet. You're to be commended. So well done.
Thanks, Andrew, and thanks for joining me today and giving up your time.
My pleasure.
Alrighty. Thanks a lot. I'll see you soon.
See ya. Bye.